Thank you so much for being here. I'm Scott. I'm the lead pastor here at Outbreak Church. And it's our absolute joy to have you here with us today. We are just so excited that you're here. This is our second week in this building. And so excuse us if we're just like giddy like little kids, but we're just excited. So thank you so much for being here. And we are just thrilled to have you as a part of our family today. Before we do anything else, what I'd like for you to do is just make a new friend. Get up, walk around, say, hey, how you doing? And tell somebody your name, thank you for being here, and just make a new friend. All right, thank you so much. Thanks, it's great to see you. When you came in, you received a worship guide. It looks like this, and on the back, you'll kind of see who we are. I'll give you our vision for Outbreak Church. Outbreak Church is a multi-ethnic family of faith that is courageous and contagious and intent on infecting the world with the gospel of grace. And that's who we are. That's what drives everything we do. And that's what allows us to focus specifically. And as many of you know, God called us about 4 years ago to specifically reach the South Rock Hill area and to minister to the South Rock Hill area. And so that's sort of our focal point, that we use a laser focus to focus on there. You'll see our core values there. We'll talk more about those in just a minute. And but if you'll open it up, you'll see on the inside several things. First of all, I just want to remind you, our women's ministry brunch is coming up. It'll be on April 23rd. It'll be right here at this building. So we're excited about that. And you see your contact information there. Notice too that we have a partnership with Palmetto Pregnancy Center, and we'll be collecting baby items for them for that. Then also we've got some folks who have said, well, how do I commit to membership to Outbreak Church? I want to be a member. Well, to find out more about that and to become a member, we're going to have a new members class on Sunday night, April the 17th from 6:30 to 8:30. You can register there by shooting me an email, or you can call the church office there and we'll get you squared away there. A couple of things to notice down in small groups. One, our men's group is reforming. It's been kind of taking a hiatus, but we're reforming that. If you want to more information about that, guys, call Dale McClellan. There's his number there, and you guys are going to figure out the best time and place to meet. And also, your information card, if you would please take a minute and fill that out. And what we'd like to do is, this is something new that we're doing today, but for every one of these we get back from a first-time guest, we're going to donate $5 to a local charity that we support here. So that'll give you an opportunity to do that. So please do that, and that'll give you an opportunity to support a local ministry also. That way we can know who you are. Thank you for being here. And if you have any prayer requests or questions, please write them on there, and you can drop it in the offering basket when it comes around, or you can also give it to us at the end of the service. Then you also see your offering envelope in there, your generosity envelope. Please fill that out. And we are so excited that you are here. God has got a good thing in store for us today. We're starting a new series today, and so we're going to kick this thing off. We're going to continue to worship right now through music and fellowship, and enjoy the coffee and whatever donuts are left back there. And but let's just worship together, shall we? Go ahead and have a seat.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
I like that clip. That is a good clip. I know sometimes we have these bumpers, that little bumper things that we call them, that last, a few seconds. Hey, can we bring the lights up just a little bit? Oh, that's all good. There we go. Now, I can see y'all now. Hey. Sometimes I feel like Tom Cruise's character, pushing for the truth, pushing for the truth, pushing for the truth. Other times I feel like Jack Nicholson's character, because somebody's pushing stuff on me and they talk about the truth, and I just want to holler at him, you can't handle the truth. So just thanks for being here. Man, we're going to start a new series today called Se7en, Unleashing Our Core Values. And each week we talk about our core values. They're listed on the back of your worship guide. We talk about them. But it's important that we do more than talk about them. We've got to do more than just write them down. We've got to do more than just put them on the back of the worship guide. There's got to be more to a core value than that. And before we start, let me just throw out a little extra. You don't have to pay for this. This is free. Do you have personal core values? Boy, it got real quiet there, didn't it? I'd encourage you, as we talk about over the next 9 weeks, as we talk about our corporate core values, think about what God's telling you to do about your personal core values. So, 7, unleashing our core values. And we called it 7 because we have 7 of them. See, I went to school to learn how to do that. My mom would be proud. That's why I went to Furman. So let's talk about this. What are core values? Core values. Core values are our beliefs or our convictions that guide and direct all of our actions. And those beliefs and those core values, those convictions, support our purpose and our vision. Remember, our vision is Outbreak Church, a multi-ethnic family of faith that's courageous, contagious, and intent on infecting the world with the gospel of grace. Well, the core values are those piles driven deep in the ground that support that. Okay? So that's why they're here. Our core values literally determine who we are. Okay? If we were up at Passmore's eating lunch one day this week, and somebody says, well, do you know so-and-so? And I'd say, well, I don't know. Tell me about him. I say, well, he's kind of tall, got kind of reddish hair, beard, plays guitar, and I know who you're talking about now. So it's a way to describe somebody, who they are. Well, core values are just that. If somebody said, who is Outbreak Church? Well, this will tell you who we are. This is tell you who we are. And I'm just going to be real honest with you. Most churches I have ever served in had no written down core values. None. And if they did, I had even been on staff there and I couldn't tell you what they were because I didn't know what they were. Most of the time they changed with the latest, whoever had written the latest book. So I had no idea what core values were. And if they did, and to be honest with you, if there was core values written down, there was usually a huge gap between the way that the church perceived the core values and how they lived their lives. So here's a question for you. Why have core values if it's not going to impact our life? Just a question. So, only when we have clearly defined and articulated and expressed core values, then we can unleash their potential. Now, these words right here, these are not just words we sat around and, went to Pizza Hut and had a bunch of pizza and got all jazzed up on pepperoni and decided about these. No, these are ones that were prayed over. The elders will tell you, from our first elders meeting on, we were praying over these. We had a list of probably about, I don't remember elders, probably 100 different words that came up amongst the 7 elders. And then we began to work our way through these. And these are the ones that we came down to. These are the ones that we felt like God, this was the thumbprint. This was the character that God was impressing upon Outbreak Church. Make sense? Okay, so when we have them written down, we can unleash their potential to impact our lives, but not only our lives, the lives of people around us, the lives of people that we touch. So, and y'all excuse me, I'm still getting over that hacking thing from last week. So, here they are. These are our core values. Gospel truth, compassion, restoration, faithfulness, relevance, diversity, and Bob, it says generosity. I see y'all going. Generosity, okay? And here's the thing. Our core values reflect who we are on a daily basis, okay? And they're the filter that everything we do is filtered through, okay? Most of y'all know I can't go anywhere without these glasses. These are the filters that everything is filtered through. It clarifies stuff. It makes stuff clear and crisp. That's what core values do. It's like you put on glasses and it makes everything crisp and clear. Okay? So, why do we need core values? I mean, they're written in the worship guide every week. Isn't that enough? You know, right? Okay, core values give us a sense of purpose, and on a church level, whole church level, when we line up with our values on a daily basis, then that gives us more energy and more spunk to be more fulfilled because we're serving out of what's important to us. Listen, I don't want you serving out of guilt. I don't want to stand up here and guilt you into something. I want you serving out of your passion. And so this allows us to serve when we have clarified, written down specifics, and when we line up with them. And when we don't line up with them, then we're fake. We might as well shut the doors. Okay, we're fake. We feel less authentic about who we are, and I don't know about you, but I'm less motivated to get up and do anything. Okay, and when that happens, that reflects and that impacts our outreach and our ministry and our service to people around us. So, here's the bottom line for us. Like I said a while ago, we can publish our core values all we want to for everybody to read, but the best way to see what the core values of Outbreak Church is to watch how we act and behave. Guys, these 7 words have to make a difference in our lives. People don't care what they read. They want to care what they see. They want to see what's going on. And they want to see if you and I are living out this stuff right here. Okay? So that's what we're talking about here. Core values are only true core values if they have an active influence on us corporately, individually, and if we, Outbreak Church, choose to live by these. Okay? So, we're going to look at, over the next 2 weeks, we're going to look at the gospel truth. That's our first core value, and it's there for a reason. Okay? It is our core value, our premier core value. And it's a biggie, so I said we'll spend a couple of weeks on it. So let's look at what our all you see is this every week. But I want us to read this. This is our commitment. Okay? It's 2 slides worth. I want you to read this with me as we do, okay? The gospel truth. We are committed by the power of the Holy Spirit to embody and honor the integrity of God's truth as expressed by His nature and His Word. The gospel truth is the absolute truth that gives us guidance, direction in all our endeavors as the bride of Christ. That's who we are. And each one of these will have a statement with it just like that. Okay? So, what is truth? Webster defines truth as truth is that which has fidelity to the original. Fidelity means it's either the same as or equal to. So, truth is something that is the same as or equal to the original. So, what original? What do we go back to? What's our original standard for this? Well, let's look. Look at John 18 with me. I'll be reading out of the New Living Translation. Start at verse 33. This picks up during what we talked about last week and during the previous several weeks leading up to Jesus' crucifixion. This was the night that he was arrested and he was brought before Pilate. And this is the discussion that Pilate has with him. And by the way, I don't know if you saw the Passion, the live musical that they did from New Orleans. But I thought Seal, and that little Seal was playing Pilate, and the interaction there between Jesus and Pilate was so powerful. I mean, it was so powerful. So let's pick right up on that. Then Pilate called for Jesus to be brought to him. "Are you the king of the Jews?" he asked him. And Jesus replied, "Is this your own question, or did others tell you about me?" "Am I a Jew?" Pilate retorted. "Your own people and their leading priest brought you to me for trial. Why? What have you done?" And Jesus answered, "My kingdom is not an earthly kingdom. If it were, my followers would fight to keep me from being handed over to the Jewish leaders. But my kingdom is not of this world." Pilate said, "So you are a king?" Jesus responded, "You say that I'm a king. Actually," listen carefully, "actually I was born and came into the world to testify to the truth." Say truth. "All who love the truth," say truth, Recognize that what I say is true. Say true. What is truth? Say truth. Pilate asked. Then he went out again to the people and told them, he's not guilty of any crime. Every single person, from Adam and Eve to Pilate to you and me, have to deal with this one fundamental question. What is truth? Okay? What is true? We got to come to grips with that before we can do anything else. And I'm going to be real honest with you. A lot of people dodge that question by saying, well, what's right for me is okay and what's right for you is okay. And, may be right for me, may not be right for you, but that's okay. It's all good. So how do we know what's really true? Let me ask you a question. Do you think that ISIS blowing up all those people in Belgium last week was morally wrong? Raise your hand, yes or no. Yes, raise your hand. No, raise your hand. Okay. How about the Holocaust? How about the torture and the murder and the execution, the horrible treatment, all the crazy stuff of the Jews by the Nazi regime? Do you believe that was morally wrong? Raise your hand, yes? Okay, that's most everybody. Okay, and I guess most people in America would answer yes to both those questions. But let me ask you another question. Why is it wrong? What basis do you have for making a judgment like that? Now, I'm going to be real honest with you here. We're going to shoot straight here. Most people in the U.S. and the world live in a world that is governed by what they call cultural ethics. In other words, they believe that whatever is acceptable to culture is moral. And if the majority of the people say something is right, then it's right because the people say it's right. That's why there's a lot of Americans who will say that abortion is okay. Okay? Because the majority of Americans believe that abortion is okay. But here's a little problem for you. I'm just throwing this out. If that's true, then how can we say that aborting 6 million Jews was wrong? We're going to talk about that the rest of the time here. Listen, there's a truth that's outside of me, outside of you, outside of your family, outside of your friends, outside of government, that's beyond any human being at all, and that truth about killing originates from God. Killing is wrong because there's a God, and that God is a living God. The God who created life and said, hey, it's good, told us to preserve life, not take it. That's why killing Jews is wrong. That's why killing tourists in an airport is wrong. That's why killing babies is wrong. Right is right and truth is truth because there is a God who is true. And whatever and whoever agrees with him is lining up with the truth. Now listen, I understand it's very easy to line up with what the world and what the government and what society tells you is true. It's easy to do that. It's much harder to line up with what God says is true. So when Jesus told Pilate he came to bring truth in the world, he was saying that he came to present himself as truth to the world because he is the original. He is the absolute standard of truth. He is the one, the only true God. This means when we look at Jesus, when we look at him, and when we look at what he says, we can be absolutely certain that we are looking at and hearing the truth. So let's go back to Pilate's question. What is the truth? Pilate says, so what is the truth? And here's the thing I want you to understand. Pilate was very cynical here. Pilate thought that all truth was relative. In other words, that it was, like we've talked about before, that truth is one thing here. It's okay to have one truth here, but it's also okay to have another truth down at Luke's Sports Bar and another one to have another truth down at, Passmore store, or another truth here or there, another truth while you're working on your taxes, another truth while you're working with this, that, and the other. Pilate thought that all truth was relative. And to be honest with you, all of Rome thought that, because truth in Rome was whatever Rome wanted it to be. And truth in America has kind of turned out to be whatever America wants it to be. So Pilate wasn't just discussing, let's stay with me. Pilate wasn't just discussing truth on his porch that day when he met Jesus. He was literally looking at the truth. The truth was standing in front of him with flesh and bone on. And Jesus said, Jesus, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth, Jesus is the very embodiment and essence of absolute moral and spiritual truth itself. Jesus is truth. Jesus is truth. So you see, here's the thing. Moral truth and spiritual truth is not so much a concept as it is a person. It isn't so much something you believe in, it's somebody that you relate to. Moral and spiritual truth has flesh. Truth is a person. Truth is just not a concept. Truth by its very nature is relational. Josh McDowell and Bob Hostetler gave those 5 points there in a book. It's an amazing book. So, let's get this thing, let's make it practical for us, okay? Here's the bottom line. It's not what is right, but who is right. Let's stop asking what is right and start asking who is right. Okay? The Bible teaches us that to tell the truth because lying is wrong. It tells us to love our neighbor because hating is wrong. It tells us to have sex only inside marriage because premarital sex is wrong. But here's the question. Why are those things wrong? Now stay with me. Is it wrong because the Bible, God's law, makes it right or wrong? This might surprise you, but I'm going to say no. The law doesn't make right right or wrong wrong. Here's the thing. Just because something's written in a law doesn't make it right or wrong. The real authority in the law is who gives the law. Who gives the law? And it's God Himself who defines right from wrong, because He is the authority. He is the absolute truth. God Himself is truth, capital T. So absolute truth isn't something God decides, it's who He is. Absolute truth is absolute because it comes from the original, the very person of God. God's the source of all truth. Look at what Samuel says in 7:28. Lord God, you are God. Your words are true. You have promised this grace to your servant. Your words are true. And that's why Jesus said, you are truly my disciples if you keep on obeying my teachings, and you will know the truth, and continuing in the truth will set you free. Truth is what sets us free, folks. Jesus Himself is that truth, and He sets us free. Jesus is the source of the truth. He is the truth. Jesus is the perfect standard of what's right and wrong. Why do we keep wanting to change the standard? Why do we want to decide, well, they said it was okay, so I'll go with them? I'm just asking. Listen, Jesus sets us free from the consequences of sin and from that self-deception and from being deceived by Satan. Remember, it says Satan is the great deceiver. He's the father of lies. Jesus says he is absolutely and clearly the way to eternal life with God. And Jesus does not give us freedom so we can do what we want. He gives us freedom to follow the God that loves us and has a specific plan for us. So as we try to follow and serve God, Jesus' perfect truth, it frees us to be everything that God meant us to be. And then Jesus said, here last week I sneezed before I was able to get that thing turned off. Everybody left with a part in the center of their hair. So I apologize in advance if that happens again. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, say truth, and life. Nobody comes to the Father but by me. Listen, truth challenges us to submit to its demands. Jesus says he's the only way to God. Now, some people are going to argue with that. Well, isn't that a little narrow-minded, Scott? I happen to think that's wide open because it's wide enough for anybody who accepts it. People try to make it narrow, and in my view, God's like said, I'm opening the door. Come on to the house. And people try to say, well, God made this little knothole I got to go through. No, he didn't. You trying to get yourself through the knothole. Get your head out of the knothole and get on with business. Instead of worrying about how limited that sounds to have only one way to God, we should be saying, God, thank you for giving us one sure way to get to you. Listen, truth is found in the person of Jesus Christ. Not in the person for who's on the ballot. Not in the person who's the latest magazine. And this is something I don't understand. I love late night TV. Can we talk? I love late night TV. But they'll bring people on there, or even the Today Show, for instance. They'll bring people on there who, just because of the very nature that they're rich and famous, and their entire life is built around being no offense about actors, but an actor's job is to be fake and be somebody they're not. They bring people on TV who are somebody they're not, get paid to be somebody they're not, and then they write a book and tell people that they is, and that's what they're supposed to be. And people fall all over it. Like Jesus himself done come and sat down with Jimmy Kimmel. What? Folks, let's get our head out of the sand. I sat there one day and watched it, and that's, quite frankly, that's why I don't watch. Well, they don't care. They ain't watching me. That's why I don't watch the Today Show anymore. They had an actress on there who was as pagan as everything could be, and she had written a book about how to be a good pagan, and how you could do anything and everything you want to do, and it's all good. And also, she included a chapter about how to raise your children. She'd been married 7 times, and you know. But that's all good, you know. She gets paid to do that. And instead of the interviewer saying, "Now, what gives you? Who taught you all this stuff?" The interviewer was going, "Oh, this is wonderful. Where can I get the book?" I thought, Lord, help us. What have we come to? You see what I'm saying? People gonna tell you what the truth is, and if you want to, you can take it and listen to it. And you're going to apply it to yourself. If you want to live this certain way, you're going to go find somebody who'll tell you it's okay to live that way. Amen. Any of you know, does the name Reggie Lewis ring a bell with anybody? Well, it's about to. Reggie Lewis was a basketball player. Reggie Lewis, coach, you know Reggie? Okay. You back me up now. If I'm telling a lie, you stop me. All right. Reggie Lewis was on the court one day. Who did he play for? Knicks? I can't. Knicks. I think it was Knicks. He was on the court one day, and he started having these heart problems. And his heart started beating real fast. And so the coach called him off, sent him to the team doctor, and the team doctor says, "Reggie, we need to take you to the hospital, bud. So they took him to the hospital. They did these tests on him. And the team doctor and the other doctor there said, Reggie, you have a heart defect, and if you don't quit playing basketball, that thing's going to explode on you one day and you're going to die. So Reggie went back, started playing basketball again. He said, thank you very much, but I think I'm going to go get me another second opinion. So he went and got him a second opinion, another famous heart doctor. Heart doctor did all this battery of tests on him, comes back and said, Reggie, you got a heart problem, a heart defect, and if you don't stop playing basketball, your heart's going to explode one day and you're going to die. Reggie says, I think I'll go get me another opinion, a third opinion. So he went to another doctor, and this doctor did this whole battery of tests on him and said, Reggie, yeah, you got a heart problem, but you know what? I think it'll be all right. Why don't you just go on back and play basketball? Do you know that 3 weeks after that, Reggie went up for a layup and his heart exploded and he died on the court? Guys, truth is truth whether you want to believe it or not. Amen. Stop being Reggie Lewis. Stop asking for a second opinion. Well, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want you to know something. Oh, Lord, Jesus, help me. Whew, whew. If I had my boots, I'd have me a spell like Ronnie Owens. I'd be walking on the back of these things here. I want you to know, y'all don't know Ronnie Owens, but he's a preacher that I knew a long time, and he wore cowboy boots. They looked like they're about size 15, and he'd say, I'm about to have a spell, and when he did, people would just kind of clear out because Ronnie'd step on that pew and walk on the backs of the pews all the way down. Oh, he's going at it. I ain't playing. So, thank goodness I'm wearing my tennis shoes today. But I actually sat, about 5 years ago, I actually sat with a grown woman who told me that somebody had told her it was okay, she's a believer, it was okay for her to have an affair with a married man because God wanted her to be happy. Come on, what? I'm just saying. Now, we can all shake our head like, oh, how in the world? But you know what? We do the exact same thing every day. Oh, God, you want me to be happy, so I think I'll just cheat on my taxes today. Oh, God, you want me to be happy, so I think I'll just do this today. Guys, we got to be careful. Satan loves to, you know what Satan did to Adam and Eve? He completely took them off focus of the truth. He had them questioning God, and he had them looking for somebody else. That's exactly what he does to us. Guys, God is he is the truth. The truth is found in the purpose of Jesus Christ. As the way, Jesus is our path to our daddy. As the truth, he is the reality of all of God's promises. As the life, he combines our life with his life now and forevermore. That's what Jesus does. Truth is not defined by God's commandments and laws, but by God's character and his nature. His laws and his commands support his nature and his character. That's why when we talk about the gospel truth, we say it's based on who God is. Its truth is the same for all people, all places, all times. It's truth. The basis of everything that we call moral, the source of everything good, is the eternal person of Jesus Christ and God Almighty. And the reason that we have this concept that some things are right and some things are wrong is that because we have a creator. The reason we think that some things are fair and some things are unfair is because God is a just God. The reason that love is a virtue and hate is a vice is because God who formed us is a God of love. The reason that honesty is right and deceit is wrong is because God is true. The reason that chastity and sexual purity are moral and promiscuity and sexual immorality is immoral is because God is pure. So if you really want to know what's right and wrong in your life, stop looking at GQ, stop looking at all them other magazines, women, whatever that magazine is y'all look at that talks about stuff. I don't even want to think about what y'all talk about. What is it? Cosmo. Woo! We ain't going there. Women, the numbers of women.
Country living, I just want to
Yeah, she does country living and I do motorcycle magazines. So, you know, the numbers of people who find their value and their sense of purpose and their sense of direction in Cosmopolitan and all these other magazines is insane. if you really want to know what's right and wrong, you have to understand who is right, and the answer is God is right. God is right. God is right. God is right. So let's talk about this just real quickly. We've talked about this a little bit before. What in the world has happened to truth? In our world, okay, the idea of an ultimate absolute truth is there's something that's true for all people, all places, and all times. And it has relevance in our life. Ooh, that's the key, relevance in our life. Guys, that's about as extinct as a dinosaur. Do you realize that 3 out of every 4 Americans say that there's no such thing as absolute truth? Okay, I heard some oomph there. Do you realize that 3 out of 4 Christians say there's no such thing as absolute truth? I need to hear some more oomph there. Yeah, you realize that church-going people who call themselves Christ followers have the same value system as the world. We're falling for the trap, folks. So in a society where absolute ultimate truth is treated like a fairy tale, outdated, or even an insult to my human intelligence, the basic motto for everything is just whatever. Whatever, and I had somebody tell me this, whatever feels good to me, I'm going to do it. The correct term for that is relativism. Okay? Relativism is a belief that there is no objective, absolute truth. You know, when we say, like if I say I want to get an objective opinion, that means somebody ain't got a dog in the hunt, right? That means that somebody's going to tell me the truth whether I want to hear it or not, right? That's an objective. So what we're talking about is objective. I'm going to say that word a lot for the rest of the sermon. Objective truth means that somebody is truth. They're not flavoring it one way or the other. It's straight up truth, okay? So relativism, and I'm not making fun of anybody, okay? But you got to understand this. Relativism says that there is no absolute truth, and their claim is that all truth is relative. Well, you have to understand that when they make that statement, all truth is relative, they are making an absolute statement. Listen, I'm going to tell you what. I can sit here and tell you all day long that there ain't no absolute truth, but if I go up on the top of this place out here and step off, I absolutely going to bust my rear end. So tell me absolute gravity don't work. It does. Okay? It's there. It is there. Truth is that correspondence, that interaction between what we believe and reality. And relativism denies that. Okay? A society that is not governed by absolute truths would fall apart. Think about this with me. How would it work if red stop signs didn't mean absolutely stop for all people? I can go when I want to. It sort of means, that's the way they do now. Yeah, I think they took stop signs out of the little manual where they teach driving. But see what I'm saying though? People go when they want to. It's like, think about like when the power goes out. Oh my goodness. I was over at Darryl Burkett's place one day right next to his, and the power went out at that crazy intersection right there. I just thought, this is insane. Somebody would get out and shoot somebody right here. You couldn't get through. Nobody would stop. People go when they want to, and people were going forward and backing up and side. It was just, that's what would happen if there was no absolute truth in society. We'd be bumping into each other and running, going crazy like a bunch of little gizmoids or something. Look at the gospel truth here. Look, we're going to break this thing down. The gospel truth, and when I say gospel truth, I'm talking about the authentic, absolute truth based on who God is and what God says, okay? So, first thing is this. The gospel truth is revealed by God. Truth finds its source in the person of God, and it's personal and moral. And God embodies that truth, and He communicates that truth through His Word, which has eternally existed with God. Remember John 1:1 says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So gospel truth is revealed by God. Second thing, gospel truth is knowable. You can know truth. You can know truth beyond a shadow of a doubt. The gospel truth is not dependent on your perspective or your attitudes or your feelings or anything else. God's truth is objective because it's rooted in the very nature of who God is, and God is truth. He is the source of truth. And listen, His truths are true no matter what beliefs or attitude an individual or culture may have toward it. It's true. Boom. And think about this with me just a second while we're on that little cart there. Those who do not know or do not recognize God's truth are still going to be judged by it. But God is a just judge. His truth is objective and knowable. And so we're all responsible and accountable for it. Third thing, God's truth is absolute. That means it is without change, without exception, and it doesn't change. It's for all people, all places, all times, all situations. Here's the thing. Beliefs can change, but truth itself is unchangeable. God's the author of absolute truth because He's eternal. His character does not change, and truth is based on the character of God. It does not change. Truth does not change. Gospel truth 4 is universal. It applies to all people, all cultures, all times because He created everything and He rules over all of creation. And 5, gospel truth is eternal. It's rooted in His eternal nature. God has always been, He always will be. Truth always has been, it always will be. What was true 2,000 years ago is true today. Now, the application of truth might change, but the truth itself endures forever. The application of that truth deals with our 5th one down there, relevance, we'll talk about later. So, truth is powerful. Truth is, that sounds like even a dumb thing to say. Truth gives us purpose. It gives us freedom. It gives us life. It's been here since the beginning. It's still here today. It's going to be here when this place is gone. And here's the great thing. Truth, the capital T truth, is available to anybody who looks for it in the person of Jesus Christ. Even though society tells us it's narrow-minded to believe in the ultimate truth, guys, we need to run after it with all our hearts. Jesus says the truth's going to set you free. And guys, that's the promise for all times. And just Scott Carroll telling you, because God is absolute truth, I'm going to believe what He says and I'm going to try to make it change my life. And I invite you to join me. Jesus said, I was born, remember what He said a while ago? I was born and came in the world to testify to the truth. All who love the truth recognize what I say is true. If you want to know what absolute answers are, then get to know the person who has absolute truth. If you want to know what the absolute answers are, get to know Jesus and God through Him, who they are absolute truth. If you want to know truth about the beginning of the world, all that kind of stuff, and its purpose and why we're here on earth, talk to the one who was there. Trust somebody who was there. Don't trust some guy from out in Seattle just because he's got a bunch of doctorates behind his name who's going to tell you a bunch of junk. I don't care how many doctorates he's got behind his name. If his name's not written in the Lamb's Book of Life, he could have a whole quadrillion of them, and it ain't going to matter. But people are going to listen to him because he's got some kind of bunch of doctorates behind his name. Talk to the one who was there. And if you want to understand how to make it in life and what standards to follow as a human being and how to really love somebody else and how to really have a fulfilled life and how to really make it in this life, talk to the one who defined reality, God himself, Jesus Christ himself. The ultimate proof that there is absolute truth is not going to come through some philosophical argument you're going to make. Okay? It will come through a personal encounter with the truth. Did you hear what I said? The only way you're going to find ultimate truth is have a personal encounter with the one who said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And every one of us individually is responsible for that. I can't make that decision for my grandkids. I can't make it for my wife or my children. Every single person. You've got to realize that you're responsible to Creator God. And here's the thing. If we commit ourselves to His absolute gospel truth, then you're going to start to see a change. And you're going to see a change in you, your family, your interactions, your relationships. And you're going to see change in your world. Because you're going to be a catalyst of change in a world that doesn't want to see change. But wherever you go, you're going to be infecting people with the gospel of grace. And the gospel of grace is based on the purpose and the person of Jesus Christ, who is the gospel truth. Let's pray. God, this is such a heavy issue. We're going to talk more about it next week because you talk about it in your word. This gospel truth is based on your word. So God, we're going to look at that next week. It's based on what you say. Today we looked at who you are and how it's based on who you are. God, give us the wisdom, give us the heart, give us the passion, give us the desire to want to know. Even Pilate said, what is the truth, when he was looking Jesus square in the face. God, we're the same. Give us the courage to look Jesus in the face and say, what is truth? But then give us the courage to hear the answer and live in the answer. God, we can hear the answer, but if we choose to live it, just like Reggie Lewis, we can hear the answer. But unfortunately for him, just because he didn't want to hear the truth didn't mean it wasn't the truth. God, we've all got spiritual heart defects. And if we keep going the way we're going, our spiritual heart's going to explode one day. And that's going to mean eternal separation and death from our loving, truthful, powerful Creator God and the person of Jesus Christ. Now, I don't know what God's telling you to do today. I know every person in this room's got a next step you can take to move one step closer to God. For some of you, today might be, and I know it wasn't exactly the sermon, but today might be the day where you say, I'm tired of chasing truth. I want a relationship with the truth. And if that's you, you say, Jesus, I want a relationship with you. I believe you are the truth. I believe you are the embodiment of God who is truth. I believe you died for my sin. I believe you love me. I want you in my life to be the truth that changes my life. I want to turn from the truth I've been going to and turn toward your truth, Holy God. Thank you for saving me. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for teaching me the truth. Others of you in here today might say, well, I'm a believer, but I've been following the wrong, I've been making excuses, and I've been justifying everything I've ever wanted to do. God, forgive me. Bring me back to the truth right now. Whatever God's telling you to do, you do it right now. As Jordan and the team comes, we continue